Hello, Bulldog Choir family. So great to see you. Welcome to our 2020 year of choir. I am Stacy Brown. I'm the choir director, and I have my bachelor's and master's from the University of Oregon. I am a national board certified teacher, and this is my 20th year teaching middle school choir. I think this is about my 8th year here at Washington, and I just couldn't be happier here. It's awesome. I'm very active in the American Choral Directors Association, and I like to offer those opportunities to our students. I'm also a professional singer myself. I sing in a group called Cor Ano, and we meet once a year. I am a proud mama of a kindergartner, and my daughter Grace is starting kindergarten at Pioneer this year. And this year I'm also teaching music at McKinney, and I know I have some of your other children in our McKinney music classes too, which has been super fun. This year I have the very great pleasure of having a student teacher, and his name is Chase Alm. Take it away, Chase.
Hi there, my name is Chase. I'm a student at Pacific Lutheran University. I am getting my degree in music education with a secondary choral emphasis. I'm a choral scholar at St. John's Episcopal Church, which is a fancy name for a paid singer. I grew up being a band nerd, so my main instrument was the clarinet. You should have received permission slips from me because there is a state-required mandated testing called the EdTPA, and I need your permission to record your students to actually get my teaching certificate. So there's your shameless plug from me.
And thank you so much. We've already received a ton of those permission slips back.
Yes, thank you.
And I wish the process were easier, and I really appreciate everybody taking the time to take care of that for us. Thank you. Okay, in choir this year, it's going to look a little bit different. We're going to use some different materials, and we're going to be focusing on topics that we always talk about, but we don't usually get as much time. So as always, and I think the most important thing we do in choir is building teamwork and strengthening our choir family. It's very important, and we're definitely going to keep that going this year too. I also want to point out that we spend time analyzing our performances. So we think about how we sound and what we're doing and how we can improve it and what makes a great choral sound. And so this year it's going to look like listening to other performances and talking about all of those details and what goes into a wonderful performance. And so we're going to be able to spend some more time doing that. We're also going to get to spend a little time on composition, which we don't usually get to. And right now we're using Soundtrap, and we're going to be using that and possibly some other ways for us to express thoughts and feelings through creating music of our own, which is kind of fun. And then, as always, we're going to be doing music literacy, and that has two parts to it. One is learning how to read music, and we use solfege, that do, re, mi stuff. And so hopefully you're seeing your singers practicing those right now. And we'll also be using different songs and different musical repertoire that helps us understand contributions to history, contributions to culture, having specifically to do with choral music. So we're still going to be doing all of those things. It just might look a little bit different. There will be singing. There will definitely be singing, and hopefully you've been hearing your students singing a lot. We're not going to be able to sing together at the same time, but we have some really cool ways that we can sing together virtually. So hopefully you'll get to see those soon. And when we are talking about grades, it's going to look a little different this year. And I just have one big bucket of grades. So all the points will kind of go in together to make their overall grade. We're going to have some assignments that are simply practice. And so that means it won't be graded, but students will just practice whatever the assignment is. And that's, if they are doing those practices, it will affect graded assignments down the road. And then there will be some check-ins that are simply a did you do it or did you not kind of a thing. 1 point, you get the point if you did it, and you won't be graded on the content of the assignment. And those are things like check-ins, like how are you doing? And it gives me a gauge of what students know, what students need. And that way I can kind of keep track and adjust my teaching as needed with those. And then the beef of the grade will be the projects. And so there'll be various assignments and projects. And I'm going to be using a 4-point standard-based scale this year. And so if they get a 4, that means they're exceeding the standard. A 3 is meeting standard. A 2 is approaching the standard, and a 1 is attempting standard. And you're probably pretty familiar with those categories. When we put it in the grade book, it can be really skewed if I use those numbers though, so I adjust the numbers. So meeting standard is 3.75, which will still get you an A grade. And then approaching standard is a 3 out of 4, and attempting standard is a 2 out of 4. That helps the grade look a little bit more, it makes more sense in the ABC grading category, which is a little different than that 4-point scale numbers wise. And then I'm going to let Mr. Alm talk about our Schoology page.
Well, so for class, all you have to do is, if you look, there's an example of what the Schoology page looks like in the right top-hand corner. And right there, that's the Zoom button, and all that your student has to do is press the Zoom button, and then they'll automatically go to the Zoom. If you can't make it, please just contact, if your student can't make it, please just contact Mrs. Brown, and we'll figure it out how to do that and go from there. And so with the green folder, that's where this week's current assignment will be, and all other assignments will be in the previous items. And that will go for the non-graded assignments or any of the former work that we've had that is like projects and whatnot. And also something that should be noted about that's in there, not everything will be just like stuff you do in Schoology. It'll be like something that we might do on Soundtrap and going from there. But every work and every project and assignment that we have will be included into the previous items. And it'll be organized by assignments, lessons, and resources.
And I also want to point out that after our Zoom class each day, we'll be posting the lesson that was given. And sometimes it'll be in a video form, sometimes it will be in like a Google slideshow form. So if your student does miss class, they can go back and look at what we did, and that way they won't get behind. Go ahead.
Another thing is that with due dates, of course, there's going to be a due date, but there's not going to be a penalty for work not being turned in on time. Especially right now with how everything is, there's too many issues that can happen with technology. And, let's say like the other day, how we had the thunderstorms that were causing internet issues. We have to accommodate what we can do. Also, another thing too, if your student needs to redo their assignment or resubmit it for a new grade, that is perfectly okay. And we encourage them to do that as well. And another thing I just like to say, communicate. I mean, if you or your student have questions, just know that we are here to help as much as we can, and we're going to do what we can. And should there be like something we need to do, like we encourage you to find a spot for your student to sing. But if that is not possible, of course, we're going to do something that we can accommodate your needs and your students' needs.
Thank you. So when participating in choir, be at the Zoom if you can, and participate as you are able. So some students will be able to sing right there in the Zoom meeting, and some students might not. I know that there are a lot of households with multiple people on Zoom meetings at the same time, and if someone just starts singing, it could be very disruptive. I completely get that. So again, I'll have those lessons posted, and they can go back later and participate or practice those things on their own time, but make sure that they do the practice. That's going to be really important. Like I mentioned, it will help those graded assignments later. And then just completing assignments to the best of their ability, and make sure to communicate. And all of these things that we're working on this year and during this distance learning time will relate directly to when we get back to in-person singing. So even if whatever they're doing doesn't kind of feel like it's connected, once we get back to in-person singing, all those skills will directly benefit our choir even in that new format. So just make sure that your students are doing whatever they can and communicate. I feel like it's going to be on every slide. How to help your students. So the first thing, find a quiet space if you can for them to attend the Zoom or to do at another time if it's not during the Zoom, a space where they can make noise. So that sounds contradictory. Find a quiet place where you can make noise. So that's kind of a two-part thing. And then missing assignments, you can check on those as a parent and just check in like, hey, how are the missing assignments going? I see you have this one and this one out. Is there anything you need help with on those things? Which leads me right into number 3, ask questions. Ask your student how things are going. Encourage them to let me know or let you know if there's any problems with anything. And I think there might be various issues that come up that we won't even think of. So just help your student to become an advocate and to really communicate. And then of course, encourage them to sing, encourage them to explore, encourage them to take risks. Even sometimes chatting in a Zoom meeting or talking out loud or sharing your view of your camera can be scary. Sometimes sharing your view of your camera is not great because of internet issues or other things, but sometimes it's just a self-conscious thing. So just talk with your student about those things and try to help them continue to learn and grow. Thank you so much for being such amazing supports of our music program and of our choir specifically. And we just really appreciate your participation participation. I know that you are being asked to do way more than usual this year, and we just couldn't appreciate you guys more. So here's my email address. You can also find me on the website and on Schoology, and hopefully soon Mr. Alm will have an OSD email address that you can contact him to, but I can always forward anything on. So thank you and take very good care.